chances are if you're playing quarterback for the AFC North, quite possibly you're in line to make up to $50 million plus a year. Baltimore Ravens MVP quarterback Lamar Jackson signed a 5-year contract with the Ravens worth $260 million. It is now the second time in a matter of 3 years that the AFC North is home to the highest paid player in the NFL. Before the massive contracts and a whole lot of guaranteed money for what seems to be now for anybody who can run and gun, the Deshaun Watson contract was the first to turn heads, and what the Browns ultimately ended up doing started a catalyst, but also maybe the reason why negotiations for Jackson's contract became more difficult. Deshaun Watson already had a massive contract with the Houston Texans. He signed a 4-year, $156 million contract, and at the time was the biggest contract in NFL history, and the $110 million in guarantees was the most guaranteed money ever. Watson eventually requested a trade from the franchise, and what followed was a series of accusations and legal troubles that saw him miss the first year of the massive contract, which led him to getting his wish, and he was traded to the Cleveland Browns. The Cleveland doubled down on Deshaun Watson. Not only did they overlook his legal troubles, but gave him a fully guaranteed contract, $230 million to be exact. The first of its kind, and probably the last. That's a lot of guaranteed money, hence making it the most lucrative contract in NFL history at the time, but still to this day the most guaranteed money ever awarded to a player. After that came a series of massive contracts for any franchise quarterbacks that showcase elite athleticism, a powerful arm, and a skill set comparable to that of Deshaun Watson. Kyler Murray's contract followed, with a contract worth $230.5 million over 5 years with $160 million guaranteed, followed by Josh Allen's contract, 6 years, $258 million. The Denver Broncos followed by handing their veteran quarterback $242 million. And most recently, Jalen Hurts with the astronomical number of $255 million. But none of these quarterbacks had ever won an MVP, and apart from Russell, none have made it further than Lamar in the playoffs. So for Lamar Jackson, who's a former NFL MVP and basically has been terrorizing the league ever since he stepped foot onto an NFL field, this should have been a no-brainer for the Baltimore Ravens. Instead, after 2 years of deliberating, negotiating, even flirting with other teams like the Miami Dolphins, his hometown team, who already have a franchise quarterback by the way, but that's another story for a different video. Maybe Deshaun Watson's fully guaranteed contract made it that Jackson was also looking for that kind of agreement. Maybe a reason why negotiations stalled. The Ravens and Jackson have sorted it out now, and the AFC North, for the second time in 3 years, has the highest paid player in the NFL. Lamar Jackson has earned every penny of his contract and then some. Lamar hit the league by storm since entering the league in 2018 and replacing veteran and also Super Bowl MVP Joe Flacco, winning MVP his second year in the league. The way NFL contracts seem to be trending, it won't be long before Jackson's contract is the second most lucrative contract in NFL history. And what are the odds that his own division rival Joe Burrow's contract will be the one to do it? Really high. Joe Burrow set the world on fire in 2019, having arguably the greatest individual season for a college quarterback ever. In 2019, Burrow won the Heisman, led his team to a national championship, and broke every individual single-season record you can break as a quarterback. He's first in FBS history with total yards of offense in a season, first in FBS history for most touchdowns in a single season, first in FBS history for most points responsible for in a season. You get the gist, right? Amazing college player. But his legend did not die in the NFL. After suffering an ACL tear during his rookie season, and what was headed to be a Rookie of the Year campaign, he came back in year 2 and led the Cincinnati Bengals to a Super Bowl appearance. The Bengals' first since 1989, having to go through Patrick Mahomes and the favored Kansas City Chiefs.
And Cincinnati is heading to the Super Bowl.
In his third year, he led his team to the conference championship for a second year in a row, but eventually fell to the eventual Super Bowl champions, the Kansas City Chiefs. Rivalry alert, again, different topic for a different video. But like the previous year, he had to go through a juggernaut of a team in the Buffalo Bills and their superhuman quarterback, Josh Allen. Joe Burrow outplayed the latter in his own home during a confusing time in seeding due to a game cancellation, which would have some saying that the Bengals ended up with the short end of the stick in seeding. Nonetheless, Joe Burrow outplayed his counterpart of the other side during the AFC divisional round and prevailed in victory against the favored Buffalo Bills. I believe it's safe to say that Joe Burrow isn't going anywhere, and Cincinnati will have to cough up a pretty penny in order to keep their franchise QB. We estimate something along the lines of a 5-year, $265 million contract, which would bump up his salary to a whopping $53 million a year, which would make the division accountable for $150 million plus in the books for 3 players. What? And let's not forget about Kenny Pickett, the other first-rounder in the division, who showed a lot of promise towards the end of the season. Kenny Pickett's rookie season started a bit shaky, having 8 interceptions and only 2 touchdowns in his first 5 games. Yikes. Things were not looking good until they started to look good. Pittsburgh got the run game in order, and Pickett continued to develop his confidence and continuity with his receivers, and the wins started to come. Then the big throws followed. Finally, the game-winning drives happened, and now the Pittsburgh Steelers fans rejoiced as they believe the quarterback position is heading in the right direction after the departure of their soon-to-be Hall of Fame quarterback, Big Ben Roethlisberger. Pickett finished the season with 2,404 passing yards, 7 passing touchdowns, and 9 interceptions. Pickett also had 237 rushing yards and 3 touchdowns on the ground. Pickett went 7-5 in his 12 starts and went 5-1 in his last 6 starts of the season. With Kenny Pickett's progression trending toward future franchise QB, he also may be in line for a $50+ million contract himself, which means the AFC North will be home of the $200 million quarterback club. A year. Wow. What do you think? How long will Lamar Jackson be the highest paid player in the NFL? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to like, subscribe, all that other good stuff. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in our next video.